Amika Moto was a young mother and the daughter of a feminist icon.
But one night she caused a fatal crash and was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
On the inside, she joined an all-female firefighter crew where she has a chance to be a hero and atone for her crime.
We're previewing Fire Escape.
That's on this episode of So Much Crime.
So little time.
Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dee, and in this episode we'll introduce you to Fire Escape, a podcast from Wondery Media.
If you haven't listened to Fire Escape, that's great. This is one of our preview episodes.
Here, we just set the scene, introduce you to the podcast, and don't go past episode 1. There'll be no spoilers for what's to come.
And you'll also find a link to Fire Escape in our show notes.
In our next episode, we'll discuss the whole series, but right now we just want to decide if this is a crime that's worth your time.
All right, Dee, before we get to this podcast and the crime, let's do something a little lighter and hop in the time machine. This crime happened on October 3rd, 2008.
I was thinking, I have some movies from October 2008. And sometimes we pull like clips from the movies or quotes from the movies. I know nothing about movies. So I was wondering how much fun it would be for you if me looking at the name of the movie and the really short description tried to describe the movie to you and see if you could get it.
Okay, let's do it. This bodes well.
It could be terrible. Indeed. Okay, I'm not doing the first one because that sounds like a stupid movie. Second top movie of October 2008. It's like a famous spy.
Is it James Bond?
It is James Bond. Do you know which of his movies came out in October 2008? Not of his movies. Like, he didn't make them, shockingly. But
I could start rattling off movies. I don't know which one came out in 2008.
Okay, I'm going to give you the snippet.
Okay.
He's trying to stop an organization from eliminating a country's most valuable resource.
Is this Quantum of Solace?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez, you know too much about movies. I know. All right. Next one. This one would be, I'm uncertain how to describe this. It's about an organization. Some might be offended by me describing it like that. An organization who have a troubled past, speckled, kind of like dotted, maybe like lots of dots of shitty abuse. And this movie, which is an hour and 44 minutes long, delves into a particular member of said organization and how there might be this nefarious relationship with a student.
With a student. This is a fictional movie.
I mean,
and it's
I'm sure there's some truth to it.
And it's an hour and 44. I like how you said it was an hour and 44 minutes long. Like that was a clue. That would help me.
I mean, no, it's not. I just saw it and thought that would be helpful.
This was like one of the top movies of 2008, October 2008.
Number 3. Number 3, my lord.
Was the speckled or dotted thing a clue?
Oh, uncertain was the clue.
Uncertain. I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
Can the clues get easier?
Do you know what organization I might be talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not Quantum of Solace.
The Catholic Church?
Oh. Is it that one with Michael Keaton? I don't think I saw this movie.
Meryl Streep's in it.
She's in a lot of movies.
And Amy Adams. Yeah.
She's in a lot of movies.
Viola Davis.
Also works a lot. These are busy actors.
That's it. I don't know what you want me to give you.
I have no idea what this is.
It's called Doubt.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah. I've heard of this. Was Philip Seymour Hoffman in this?
Oh, the one guy I didn't name in the 10 top actors that are in the movie. They're all women. And then I didn't mention the name. But if I'd mentioned the name, you would have got it. Okay. Yeah, I see where this is going. Okay. Next one.
Well, I've never met Meryl Streep, but
that.
I've met Philip Seymour Hoffman. So.
What do you mean you've met him?
I met him. Him and Sam Rockwell were at an acting workshop in Bennington, Vermont when I was there once. And he...
Running a marathon? Were you just like running through Vermont? And
no, I was in grad school getting one of my English degrees.
One of my.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman
horrifying.
was there with his family, with his wife and kids, and he was really friendly and nice, and he just would stop and chat. Yeah, he was great. That's my story.
But like Meryl Streep was in it. Like if you're gonna know it, because yeah. Anyway,
She
I have
does
watched.
do a lot of movies.
but Philip Seymour Hoffman doesn't.
Well, he's dead, so he doesn't do them anymore.
Like in his time.
No, he did a lot of movies. You're
Like
right.
in his time. Okay. He did a lot. Okay. Okay. Last one. I'm only doing this one. I wasn't going to until I scrolled and realized that we spoke about him recently. So we are going to. Who did we speak about recently in an interview about San Francisco?
Was Chris Mancini in a movie?
Yeah, it's called Mancini. just Chris. It's his entire life. No. But that was the interview I'm talking about.
The one on the Doodler. But we talked about.
I can give you a clue that you won't help you. I can say Banya. That won't help you at all.
I don't know what that
It'll
word
help some of
was.
the Irish listeners. Yeah, it's the Irish word for this substance.
Substance. Oh, milk?
Yes.
The Harvey Milk movie.
I love how confusing. Yeah.
What was the word?
Banya.
Banya?
Yeah.
That's the word for milk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Ishka is water. Ishka Baha, which is the water of life. That is
Wait,
whiskey.
Ishka Baha? Wait, the water of life
Yeah.
is whiskey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, sorry. I'm sorry. What
And
was
people wonder why.
milk again?
Banya.
Banya. Okay. And Ishka.
Yeah.
what is-
Ishka is water.
Ishka is water.
Water.
Banya, Ishka.
Yeah. And Ishka Baha is the water of life, and that's whiskey.
Ishka Baha. Okay. That's been our lesson in Irish beverages.
You're
So-
welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's jump to the songs. Adding a little something new this time to help you get this. Would never have gotten this song, but maybe you would.
Help me get this. Okay.
Yes.
Because you think I
'Cause-
won't. Okay.
I think it's hard. All right. Fact about this song. In the United States, this song reached #1 on the Billboard charts. This was #2 at the time. This became this person's second single top the chart. It also became this person's highest selling single in the US with sales of over 4 million downloads, and was the second best-selling song of 2008 in Australia and the sixth best-selling song of the entire 2000s decade in Australia. And it was certified diamond there.
Sorry. Second something of this artist, you said. Second
It was this person's second
US hit.
#1 song. Yes.
Oh, in the US. Okay.
Yes. And then it was huge in Australia.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I guess I just lost my husband. I don't know where he went. So I'm going to drink my money. I'm not going to pay his rent.
Oh, pause. God, I'm bad at these today.
Let me keep going.
No, hold on. The Australia thing is like that. Is that a hint?
No,
Is it? It's not pink.
it is pink.
So what?
Yeah.
So what? I
Yeah.
am a rock star.
Yeah.
I got my rock moves.
That's the
I
chorus.
love Pink. I think she's great.
All right. One more thing for you.
That was pretty good.
That was
I
pretty
thought
good.
the Australian thing really put me off.
It's Wikipedia. All right.
Threw it in there.
So I want to talk about so this crime takes place in Tehachapi, California. So I went to TripAdvisor and looked up well, first I
I just want to say that Jeff went to the maps and he put a random thing down,
the
pin
little Google guy
down, and looked at the street view. And wait till you see. We're gonna post it on Instagram to show you what he found. It's just so random. Some Irish lad walking around with his belly out. I mean, not guaranteed Irish. We cannot claim him. What's he doing? Where do you reckon he's going? They're like work pants. It's not like he looks like he's going to the beach. The red hair and the pasty skin. This is like the Irishest man ever. This is so funny. I want to find this guy and see if he's Irish. This is non-Irish behaviour. You can't be at that.
All right, so I went on TripAdvisor.
But if you are said man or know said man and he is Irish, please let me know. I would love if I got So Hot by Pink right and the Irish man walking into
Tehachapi.
here.
No, I can't say it. Tehachapi. Tehachapi is down in near Bakersfield. It's actually not that far from Deadly Mirage. It's about an hour and a half away from where that took place. Okay, so I went to TripAdvisor and I looked at the number one restaurant, which is a place called Red House Barbecue. And I want to be clear, this place has a 4.5 rating on TripAdvisor. It has 330 reviews, of which 205 are excellent. But there are a handful of terrible reviews, and I went and found one, and I want to share it with you. This is a great, this is a great terrible review. So this is by a person named Tina Mom. Tina Mom has contributed 126 reviews. This one, the title is
Killing it.
My experience, ... sorry, ... Yes, that's how many dots there are in it. Doesn't understand that an ellipsis is normally 3 dots. Anyway, this was from February 2020. So just got in under the wire.
Maybe she only got one English degree and didn't, wasn't covered in that one. But yeah.
All right, here's the review. Just have to get it off my chest. ...
Indeed.
Really like the food here. That said, one time when I used the wrong size containers, large ones sitting on the raised counter, this is, okay, open parentheses, large ones sitting on the raised counter, open parentheses, apparently these are used for other purposes but are sitting in plain sight, close parentheses, with a placard nearby that invites you to help yourself to squirt the barbecue sauce from self-serve bottles, and that original parentheses never closes. I was waiting.
Just to clarify.
All right, so this is the pivotal action. This person was waiting for their to-go order. There's a raised counter with little things to get barbecue sauce to go, and used apparently the large ones. I was waiting for the to-go owner, and the owner, I know he's the owner by his description and other reviews, approached me and told me I should have asked for the much smaller containers when I ordered, and that I owed him $10 for the amount of barbecue sauce I had taken. Pretty sure it was much, much less than a grocery store bottle, which would cost about $2. I felt threatened as a woman. He's a pretty big guy, and he seemed angry, so I paid and
Sorry,
left.
hold on. How much did she take if it's the same as like a grocery store bottle?
So many questions. If the owner of the restaurant feels the need
As
to charge...
As a woman, I felt...
to charge $10 to this person.
Don't use your womanhood for stealing the barbecue sauce. Why didn't she just put the whole thing in her bag?
Just, yeah, like the giant tub that they have.
Yeah.
All right, I felt threatened as a woman. He's a pretty big guy, so I paid and left. The sauce was good, and we used it appreciatively. I live locally, but honestly...
How often? For how long? For how long did you get used out of this?
I live locally.
Still appreciate it to this day.
But honestly, I will not return because the customer service and my son experienced a bad customer service. My son experienced a bad customer service experience here on a separate occasion. It has taken me a while to write this review because I support local businesses, and I know this is probably atypical of other experiences. Thanks, TripAdvisor, for letting me vent, but it was an honest mistake, and I did not appreciate the owner treating me like I was some sort of criminal, regardless of how good the food is.
So... I wonder, though, like if her son is seeing her stealing the barbecue sauce and like vats of it, what do you reckon he took?
I just imagine her having like a giant like bag and just like squirting barbecue sauce into it, just filling up a bag.
Creating the noise from the end of the bottle and being like, what? Me? I don't know.
Just like... taking
I
one
love
of
the
the
way she's like, I waited for so long and yet it's still upsetting to me.
Tina Mom. I hope
Tina Mom.
if you're out there,
you gotta get something.
I'll buy you a bottle of barbecue sauce. They cost like $2, like you said.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Just send us in your order.
All right, that was our time machine for today. What a time machine it was.
So much crime, so little time at gmail.com. Send us in your barbecue sauce order.
If you enjoyed the time machine you just heard and you were like, man, I wish there was more to that time machine. Well, good news, there is. What you just heard was an abbreviated version, and there's a longer version available on our Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/so-much-crime, so little time. You'll get every episode we do a longer version of the time machine. You're only getting part of it. Some of the most fun stuff is over at Patreon. So go check that out. There's also episodes that come out early. There's outtakes. There's bonus content. And you get to support the show. So patreon.com/so-much-crime. So little time. All right, let's talk about this podcast. So Firescape came out in late 2024. The host is Anna Sussman. Anna is a senior producer and senior editor of Snap Judgment on NPR. Dee, have you ever heard of Snap Judgment?
No.
Okay. In true NPR fashion, I went to the Snap Judgment website, and there Anna has a bio, and this is what her bio says on the Snap Judgment site on NPR. Anna Sussman has been trying to report serious stories, but really has been reporting on frivolity for the past 9 years. She earned 2 master's degrees from the University of California at Berkeley in journalism and human rights, and founded backpackjournalist.org with her husband, reporting stories on U.S. military debacles, international war tribunals, and man-eating crocodiles from 21 countries. Anna comes to Snap Judgment from the wilds of the freelance jungle, where she reported for CNN, Current TV, PRI, and the San Francisco Chronicle. She also plays the banjo and can be spotted in a Thai sports drink commercial. So I thought that was...
I want to have a Thai sports drink commercial on my bio.
Right? Anyway, Firescape, there are 6 episodes, and there's 4 bonus episodes. And the length of each episode is about 30 minutes. Dee, what did we hear about in episode 1?
So Jeff tells me we start in media res, which, like in plain English, means we start in the middle of the story, where Amika Moto is already in prison, working as a firefighter at the scene of a deadly car accident. We then jump back and hear how she got there. When she was 29 with 3 small kids, she ran a light and hit another car, killing a man. She was sentenced to almost 10 years in prison. Early in her sentence, she's trying to get in-person visits with her kids, but she keeps getting punished, which pushes back her ability to see her kids. And this is where we're going to jump in. All right, so Jeff, what's your story? What's your feeling? What's your vibe?
This was really different from other things we've listened to. I felt like this was different in how it was told. It was a different kind of story. And it was structured differently. I don't know. There's just a lot of new here. That was my initial.
Okay,
take.
that's it's new. It's new. I hadn't heard it before. It's the first episode. Yes, I agree. There was new. How did you feel about the new? Like, what is the new that you want to talk about first?
I don't know how to feel about Amika Moto from this first episode.
Do you not know how to feel about Amika Moto, or do you not know how to feel about the production of the story of Amika Moto?
I think both. I think the production of the story
Interesting.
presents Amika as this very sympathetic character, this person who is in a terrible situation, is suffering, has been traumatized by what she's been through and what she's going through in prison, but what she went through with the accident. She's apart from her children. And I think that's all understandable. But she did also kill somebody. And we don't really have a lot of context for how that happened. Like, we hear about the accident. Like, she tells the story about running a red light and hitting, like, looking and thinking she didn't see a car, and then she hits this car and she kills this man. And we hear a little bit about this man and who he was. He was about to retire. His wife gave a statement at the trial, and I don't know. How are we supposed to feel about this? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up was, like, one of my larger questions about the podcast. It was, what is happening here? I listened to this 3 times and I found myself increasingly frustrated, borderline angry at it. And I'm not sure if it was directed at Amika or the producer, but, like, I presume the aim here is probably to evoke empathy for Amika. But I also feel like the aim was to evoke anger and frustration towards Amika. Like, I feel like the aim was to create that push-pull on the listeners. That, like, uncertain, doubtful terrain where you're like, I don't know how to feel. Like, how does anyone else feel? This feels weird because...
I have a question for you about that.
Is it okay? Okay, go on.
You said it's trying to kind of do both things. The second part of how did you say the second part?
Well, I personally felt like frustration and borderline angry at it.
Where, like,
But do you feel like they were trying to get us to feel, I felt like they were trying to evoke empathy with us for the prisoners.
yes.
Or for Amika, at least.
Yes. I felt like it was all empathy. I don't.
Okay, so I felt like it was all empathy, but the more I think about it, I'm like, they cannot think that producing an episode 1 like this is going to just evoke empathy.
Why?
There's a reason it's cut like this. Because she starts, or the start that we hear is like, tell me about the first time you went on the scene or whatever.
As a firefighter.
And it's all about the fire, as the firefighter. But like, there's this underlying, like, people were worried about me. Like, they're obviously worried because she was in a car accident. Like, she's going to see a dead body and she has done this to someone. So,
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds harsh. That's
It sounds
fair.
harsh
That
when you
sounds
say
harsh.
it, but I
that's
thought
what it's doing.
Yeah. I'm glad you
So-
said it and not me.
So this is what they're doing. So this is what it's doing. So I listened to this 3 times and I was like, there is no way they're putting this in front of us and they don't anticipate that we are going to feel uncomfortable with feeling empathy for her. Because of course I did. I'm a mother. She had a 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old. I get it. Like, I can't imagine not being able to touch my child, not being able to feel their hair, not being able to, like, see them. Like, her struggle with, like, being a mom, like, how she envisioned herself as a mom was so different now that she's behind bars. I don't obviously get that, but I can't imagine what it's like to be away from my kids, not knowing for how long, not knowing how long it will be until, like, I can actually physically hug them or cuddle them. Like, I can't imagine that. But there's a reason this isn't a victim forward point, like, story.
yeah.
There's a reason. There has to be. And surely the reason is, the point is they're trying to evoke this muddy water. Because I feel like sometimes we have stories that are very clearly victim, perpetrator. Obviously, the victim here is the victim in the car crash. But there's also a victim in Amika Moto. And I think that's what they're trying to bring forward. But they're not putting the victim front and center, the victim of the car crash who lost his life. They're putting her front and center. But it's in a way that is so imbalanced that I do not believe they produce this to not evoke anger and frustration after episode 1. I can't.
You think they want
and if
us
they
to
did,
be
if they had no idea,
angry and
I
frustrated?
think they want us to feel some or uncomfortable. Maybe uncomfortable is the word. Maybe they're trying to say, yes, it's uncomfortable. That feeling is uncomfortable. And you know what's more uncomfortable is the fact that prisoners are being put to work. Prisoners are pulling people out of cars. Prisoners are doing the work that you were so grateful for. Just like in the LA fires.
Yeah.
When there was a lot of prisoners that came out. They were helping people. They were rescuing people. And everyone's like, let's get these prisoners. Let's get photos with them. All the celebrities getting photos with them. Like, these are heroes, blah, blah, blah. They might be heroes to you in this minute, but, like, have you thought about what they might have done? Have you thought about the victims of the crimes they've committed to put them there and, like, how they might feel? And I know your prison system is fucked up. I am aware. We have discussed it. But there is that uncomfortable feeling. And surely what they're trying to do here, and if they're not, if after the next few episodes they're not doing this, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I was so frustrated with this episode and I was like, I think I'm frustrated. I think they must want me to feel like this. They have to.
Yeah.
Me personally. They were like, D, let's get her to feel uncomfortable. That's what was happening.
But, like, what are the emotional sort of triggers in this episode? There's a handful of them, and they're a little all over the map. And some of them are things we've seen in other podcasts. So there's that opening one, like you talked about, where she goes, it's her first car accident as a firefighter. And there's a family of 3 that were killed in this car accident. And her job is to pull these dead bodies out of this car. And it's horrific. It's a horrific scene. And it's obviously, and we're told how this is traumatic for her. That's a big one. We hear about her car accident. We hear what happened. We hear how she had a broken pelvis, a lacerated liver, a punctured lung. She basically gets multiple surgeries and then gets thrown in prison. She's on her knees in the prison shower washing glass out of her hair. That's awful. We hear about the abuse she seems to get from the prison guards.
I didn't find that awful. I'm not going to lie.
Which part?
Because throughout that part, Well, throughout the part of her being like, I'm in prison and the reality of what's happening. And she did mention like that she was pulling, there was multiple families that she has ruined. And like, look, accidents happen. I get that. But was it, not that it wasn't an accident, but like she just said like she burned through the light. Like there was no like note of like what led up to this. Like what was going on here?
So this is the thing. Okay. We don't know that. We don't know what her life was really like. What her day was like.
Well, she had a wraparound porch.
She had a wraparound porch.
But it does note, she said at one stage, I had like an idealistic view in my mind of what it was going to like to live like out in the countryside with my kids. And, you know, something like it didn't transpire or whatever. But I don't know whether that's because she killed someone and went to prison or whether it's because maybe life was harder there before the accident. I don't know.
Okay, but we do also hear about the man that she killed. We don't get his name. We hear that he was a grandfather, that he was about to retire. We hear that his wife gave this emotional statement at the trial. And I'm like, why include that here in this first episode? Because that just makes me critical of her. Like, you could have saved that for episode 3 or 4. This could have...
I think if they had saved that for episode 3 or 4, you would have been giving out that there was no mention, not even a little bit of a mention of the victim.
Sure. You're right. I would have. But I also, we all bring our own... You bring mother of a 6-year-old to this. I bring recent family trauma with a car accident and broken glass and that to it. But I also bring to this just people who run red lights is one of the things that drives me more crazy than anything. I don't know if it happens more in where I live than other places. It feels like it. And maybe it's just happening more now than it used to happen. But I also, a long time ago, my wife got T-boned by someone who ran a red light. And she wasn't killed, but she could have been. And that happened 17 years ago. But I still think about that every time I see someone run a red light. So my sympathy for someone who runs a red light, hits someone and kills them is 0. And that's a personal thing.
And I suppose that's my point. Yeah, you know, and I get that. And I think that is like totally valid. But I think that's the point. In the way they described the situation, it wasn't as if the light was green, went orange, and she put her foot down. That wasn't what happened here, from what I'm gathering. This was, the light was red and I burned through it.
Yeah.
There was no cars that I saw. So I feel like if it was a more sympathetic story, would we have heard that? Or is the creation of this story for episode 1 evoke this anger, evoke this uncertainty, evoke this conversation? And how many times can I say evoke? And then we'll get people talking, they'll listen, and we can tell the story here, which presumably from the summary of the podcast and also, or the description of the podcast and also the name, is not necessarily going to be about this car accident, but it's going to be about the fact that they're trying to escape from prison by becoming firefighters.
Well, but that's another thing I want to talk about.
It feels like, is the discomfort that they're trying to evoke here mirroring the discomfort we should feel about those prisoners who are in fact prisoners and not treated with dignity on one side of the fence, but when they go out in all their gear and save people's lives or rescue people or help people in really like horrible circumstances, they're heroes.
Yeah.
That's uncomfortable too, no?
It is. It absolutely is. Plus, I mean, on top of that, had you ever heard of an all-female prisoner firefighter crew?
No.
I hadn't either. I mean, it makes sense that it's a thing.
And they're in California.
They are in California. Yeah. Also, I want to talk about what we're told this podcast is about and this is not, I don't think this is a spoiler, but I actually have been wanting to talk about this for a while with some of the past ones we've done, where there are things that seem very important that are in the description of the podcast that are nowhere to be found in episode 1. And I understand, like, they're setting the table for the broader story. But the way this is introduced, I think, is relevant to this conversation, because this is the first sentence of the description of this overall podcast is Amika Moto was a young mother, a midwife, and the daughter of a feminist icon. We heard about her being a young mother. We didn't hear about her being a midwife. We didn't hear about her being a daughter of a feminist icon. But that sentence, and then the next sentence, which is one night she caused a fatal crash that would separate her from her family and brand her as a criminal, suggests that this is going to be a podcast about her sort of quest for redemption and how she is a sympathetic character. She's a mother, a young mother, a midwife, and the daughter of a feminist icon. Like, it's not that she was a drug addict and, a petty thief. And, like, we're not,
but
these aren't tropes.
But was she? Like, we don't know that. I mean, it does say that the judge basically was saying that this was not about rehabilitation. It was about punishment. She was like, what was the word he used? Something beyond, I don't know.
He did, yeah.
It wasn't about rehabilitation. It was about punishment.
Punishment, yeah. Yeah.
And so that makes me feel like there's more to this. Was she drunk? Was she under the influence of something else? Like, what was the story here? Because there has to be more to this crash. Like, surely if a young mother who's a midwife, who's a daughter of a feminist icon, is moving to the countryside to be with her young kids and blah, 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 runs a red light. And her history is like, there is no history of anything else before that. I can't imagine a judge saying
10 years in
this
prison.
is about punishment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and 10 years in prison. It just doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't fit.
There was another part of this podcast. Again, like I just felt like things were annoying me. Like in the prison, there's like this other story of like when she's in prison and her sidecar gets in an argument, and there's this like, oh my God, there was a porter and the porter was so old and shouldn't have been working, and my sidecar started giving out to the porter and I just didn't have a choice but to intervene, and I ended up in a fight. And it was such a bad place to be in a fight because it was right beside blah blah. And I was like, wait a second, the whole like porter and the old woman, okay, so you're trying to say like what, you're some sort of martyr because you're getting in between your sidecar and the porter, and yet you're like, it's a real bad place to fight, and oh my God, it wasn't my choice. And then, I'm sorry, you always have a choice. You have that choice. And
can we pause for a second?
I didn't.
Did you know what a sidecar was before you listened to this?
No. I love the way that's what you interrupted me ranting to ask me that question.
For context for our listeners, the sidecar is...
I'm sorry. So a sidecar is someone who's is in the bunk beside you.
Yes.
Just for our listeners. But like the fact that it's trying to evoke this, like, I was so kind because I was looking out for the old woman beside me. Like, you could have fucking looked out for the old man in the car before you killed him. Sorry, that was real harsh.
Yeah, I feel like we're only getting part of the story. And look, what you said earlier, the prison system in this country is terrible. The way prisoners are treated is terrible. The way women...
You said it's a much nicer way than I did.
The way women in prison are treated is terrible. We've heard about this in California time and again, of abuse, of physical abuse, sexual abuse by guards. And we hear bits of that in this episode. You get punished for not flirting with a guard. So I want to state that clearly. But to your point about this story, she gets in this horrible fight. And I just feel like there's more to this. Like, I feel like there's another side to this. I know how that sounds. Like, I don't... If she's the victim...
But I feel like that's the point, though, Jeff. I feel like this is edited in a way that is leaving so many question marks, that it's leaving doubt in our minds. It has to be. Otherwise, like, honestly, it's a really poorly edited podcast. If it's the case of, oh, well, this is giving you all the context. Like, it's not.
You know what?
There is so much of the parts we've heard about that we're missing.
You know what this reminds me of? Serial. Serial is incredibly manipulative.
This is true. But it's so good. It feels like if it transpires that I'm wrong and that this was supposed to be as annoying of an episode, like they were like, no, this is great, we're just going to put that out there and we're giving enough context, I will hate this podcast. I'm hoping, I have this glimmer of hope that maybe this is like a whole trickster point of view, that we're like trying to trick people into being like, this is amazing. Maybe because it's up there for like one of these Ambies. What are they called?
Oh yeah, we didn't say that before. This is nominated for Best True Crime Podcast in the 2025 Ambie Awards.
maybe it's because it's that. I'm like, there's gotta be something more to this.
Yeah, and I hope it's not just that it is a story on an uncommon topic. Because I think, the other one that's nominated for Best Podcast of the Year, not just in the true crime category, is Hysterical, which we had some real criticisms of the way that one was presented.
Well, that's true. I feel like maybe, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Are you looking for more true crime stories? We want to share a trailer with you for a show you might love. It's Wanted by AC Roberts. AC covers a bunch of interesting crimes, including The Doodler, which we covered a few weeks ago. Listen to this trailer and go check it out if you think it's a podcast that's worth your time.
They vanish into the shadows, they slip through the cracks, and sometimes they were never meant to be caught. I'm AC Roberts, and every week on Wanted, we investigate the killers who got away, both identified and unknown. Some are cold cases frozen in time, while others remain terrifyingly active. We break down the facts, the theories, and the disturbing unanswered questions that keep these cases alive. Who killed Joseph Elwell in a locked room? How did Charles Rogers disappear after the gruesome icebox murders? And could the truth about the Sodder children still be out there? Check out our website, thewantedpodcast.com, to find us on your favorite platform, or follow us on Instagram at The Wanted Podcast for updates and case discussions. Because justice may be blind, but the past is never truly buried.
Next time, what happens as Amika goes out in the world as a firefighter?
And how bad will it get when she's inside the prison walls?
We're discussing all of Fire Escape.
That's on the next So Much Crime.
So Little Time.
So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of MimeGov Media. The executive producer is Paxton Calariso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show in your podcast app. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening.